Hi, Universal Recapped here. Today I am going to explain a French science fiction thriller film, titled Oxygen. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and enjoy. As the movie began, a white rat is shown. He was trapped in a maza. He was trying to escape from there. Then the scene shifts. A girl is seen in a small chamber. She was fully covered, and many devices were fixed on his body. When she wake up she get frightened. She begins to remove the devices from her body. The AI come online, inform her that oxygen level is at 35%. And introduce himself as medical interface liaison operator, Milo. She imagine himself in the hospital. Amount of oxygen level in the hospital must be reduced. Then she begins to scream for hoping someone must notice her. And when she closes her eyes, she imagined himself as a small girl, then remembered her lover, and remembers her mother. And suddenly realized that she don't remember anything about herself. She asks Milo about herself. Milo tell her patient identity is Omicron 267. She asks Milo to show image of herself. Milo shows her in holographic reflection. The woman remember her lover again, and remember her as a child again. She gets scared when Milo tell her that her oxygen level is 33%. She began to visualizes that she going to die due to lack of oxygen. She also keep remembering the some rats in lab. She gets worried. She ordered Milo to unlock the chamber. Milo initiates the procedure, but it needs an authorization code to complete it. She don't have any code. Suddenly, she gets the idea to call the outside. She tells Milo to call the police. An automated voice answers, then a real person comes through. Then she begins to talk with the officer. She tells officer she's inside a chamber and it's running out of the oxygen. The officer asks for her name and address, but she repeats she doesn't know it. The officers think she is toying with him. But she begs him to believe her and localize her call. Then officer asks her the last thing that she remembers. She only remembers an emergency room. Then she asks Milo to determine her location, but Milo can't. Officer tells her to find all the information about the chamber. She finds the manufacturer Cryosolide and reads him the serial number. But, the connection to the police drops. The woman remains surprisingly calm as she tells Milo to search for her DNA. Milo finds one match and brings up her photos on the screen. And her name is Elizabeth Hansen. It means that the name of this woman is Elizabeth. Suddenly, she remembers herself and her mother, who called her Liz. She receives a call from Captain Moreau, Department of Science and Technology. She asks if they found her. But he insists to know her oxygen level first. It's at 31%, and if the consumption is moderate it will run out in 73 minutes. But with her current level, it will be gone in 43 minutes. Moreau asks her to share all the information she can remember. She doesn't understand what's going on and can't focus. She tells him that if they meet with the manufacturer they need to get her the codes to open the chamber. Moreau doesn't know exactly how much time it will take him to get the information. The call drops and Milo can't reconnect because the number doesn't exist. Milo informs her that the oxygen has dropped and her probability of survival is null. Protocols for that situation prompt the computer to initiate sedation. Liz refuses, but the robotic arm goes after her. She refuses and battles with the arm until it goes away. Afterward she asks Milo to search information about Elizabeth Hansen. Then she finds out that she is a Nobel Prize winner and a cryogenics doctor. As she remembers some experiments she was part of, she says that she did all of this to herself. But she does not know any code. Liz sees her social media account. She gets her picture in which her husband was standing with her. She tells Milo to try contact with her husband's number. System carries out it. But a lady picks up the call. Liz says to make my contact with my husband. That lady gets angry. She says never try to contact here again. She keeps trying again and again but no one responds. Now her oxygen drops to 21%. Liz again has a hallucination connected to her memory of rats in lab. And she tries to open the pot again and Milo offers her a sedative again. Liz accepts it so she can break off the needle and use it as a tool to scratch open the chamber. She gets electric shock for trying to get out. Liz loses hope as the oxygen keeps dropping. She receives another call from Moreau who tells her that they will have the codes for her shortly. Moreau says her that she used to live with her mother. Liz refuses him and tells she live with my husband. She has also called him but a lady picked it up. Suddenly, a distant second voice appears on the line, but Moreau doesn't tell her who it is. Moreau says she was never married, it was just her imagination. Liz can't believe it. And tells Milo to search for him. It finds nothing, even the pictures of the two of them have changed. Her oxygen drops further and she pleads for the codes as Moreau talks to someone else. But tells her that she's hallucinating. Liz thinks that he's behind what's happening to her. She tells Milo to disconnect the call. Suddenly, she remembers Leo with lesions on his body. Then she remembers him getting sicker and both of them going to the hospital. Another call comes through and she rejects it, telling Milo to replay the last 30 seconds of her last call and to turn the volume up when the second voice appears. The voice says to tell her that she's hearing things because of the stress she's under. There is another incoming call which she refuses first and then accepts, thinking someone is messing with her. She asks who it is and why they're doing this to her. It's the older woman on the other line. She says that she knows she is in cryogenic chamber. Liz asks to talk to Leo, but that's not possible. She tells her that Leo has died. Liz thinks she is lying to her. And Liz ends the call. Her oxygen drops to 14%. The woman calls again and tells that she is the only one who can help her. She knows the code to unlock the chamber but begs her not to use them. Liz makes the woman tell her the code and she gives it to Milo. Liz tells Milo to open the chamber, but the woman begs Liz not to do it because she will die if she does. The woman can prove it to her, so Liz pauses the unlocking procedure. She tells her to go into the system preferences and find the centrifuge controls, then switches them to 0. Milo turns off the micro thrusters. Suddenly, Liz started floating in the chamber. That woman tells Liz that she is not on the Earth, she is in the space. Milo also confirmed that they are 42,735 miles away from the Earth. The old lady tells Liz was in hypersleep for a mission to colonize a tidally locked planet 14 light years from Earth. But they have just left and they still haven't engaged the nuclear power drive. Liz asks if she worked for Ministry of Defense. The woman says yes, because the mission concerned the entire human race that will become extinct in 2 generations. But that the information can't be made public and that's why Moreau lied to her. The woman tells her that everything that the army did since she got into communication with them was to prevent her from recovering her memory. Liz remembers Leo dying in a hospital from a virus that killed millions of people. The woman tells her that she has been in hypersleep for 12 years. Since her oxygen is dropping and she'll be out of range very soon, the woman asks her to let her help because she designed the chambers and she can put Liz back into hypersleep. They find out that the processor that prevents brain atrophy is the one that has overheated. The woman tells her that they have to divert its functions to another processor, not in charge of her essential functions. She orders Milo to transfer the data to the processor they found, but it can't be done. The army come to the house of the woman, so she tells Liz to remember everything that she knows about the chamber and find a way to get back to hypersleep before the oxygen drops under 2%. Before the call ends, the woman tells her to find Leo so she can find her memories. The oxygen levels drop to 11%. Liz tries to remember by getting the chamber to electrocute her again. She only remembers Leo dying in a hospital. Liz shocks herself again and again until she remembers Leo telling her that they will meet again. She asks Milo to find Alice Hansen. Her mom picks up and they have a conversation, Liz telling her that she loves her and the call end. They are out of communication range with Earth and her oxygen is down to 6%. Liz asks Milo about the ways in which she could die. The answers are terrifying. The oxygen continues to drop. She asks him to unlock the door, choosing the faster way to die. As Milo begins the procedure, she remembers something more about Leo and aborts the unlocking procedure. Liz asks how many Omicron units there are around her and Milo answers that there are 10,000 units. She asks for a visual and when Milo shows her, she sees a dead body in front of her chamber. All of the units are in a ship surrounding her. The ship carrying the chamber was hit by an asteroid. Many of the chamber have been lost. Milo re-engages the UV filtration on her chamber. Liz asks how many of the pods are still operational and the number Milo gives her is well over 9,000. However, the status of her chamber is considered lost. Liz asks how many people have woken up in their pods. Milo answers, only one. She asks Milo about Leo and tries to find him and make sure his chamber is still operational. And suddenly she remembers the number of his medical file and asks Milo to check if chamber number 42 is operational. The computer shows her the fully operational chamber and uncovers Leo's face from the cocoon. Liz notices that he hasn't got his scar on his face and realizes something extremely important. She asks Milo to search for her name again and watches a video where the old woman she spoke to explains that she had cracked the transfer of memories from one life form to another. Her experiments in rats have proved that such a thing is possible, down to the smallest detail. The woman in the video is her. Liz asked Milo how old she is and he answered that she is 12. She listens to a recording of her talk to the old woman and realizes that she is her clone. Milo confirms her suspicions. Liz was a clone made to go to another planet that had never left the pod she is in at the moment. She freaks out, as one would only expect, thinking she's disposable and crying out that she wants to live. The oxygen level falls to 4%. Liz asks Milo to record a message for Leo's clone before she dies. She tells him that she can remember their entire life together and paradoxically feel it as an abyss inside of her because they have never even met. Liz suddenly decides not to give up. She tells Milo to search for alternative processors, but there is another problem. The computer tells her that her chances of survival have dropped below the acceptable parameters and the euthanasia protocols have been initiated. Liz tries to stop the protocol and asks how it's administered. When Milo answers that it is administered intravenously, she remembers taking out her needle and realizes that it will be administered through the harness strapped through her abdomen. Liz releases the belt, but the countdown continues. She reaches for the fourth in her foot and takes it out before the drug reaches her. Liz tells Milo to deactivate the processor meant for disaster scenarios and redirect the processor that regulates brain activity through it. She orders the computer to put her back to hypersleep, but that is an impossible task since she has disconnected herself from everything needed to regulate hypersleep. As the oxygen levels become dangerously low, she hallucinates again. When the visions are over, Liz puts her second four back on, then her umbilical belt, and finally the fourth on her arm. Then she places her cerebral monitor back on. Unfortunately, the oxygen level has reached 1%. Milo tells her that she won't survive resuscitation. She apologizes to Leo for not surviving, and Milo stops the recording. Liz runs out of oxygen but remembers there might still be some left in the other chamber. She tells Milo to divert that oxygen to her chamber as he puts her back into hypersleep again. It asks her if she wants a sedative, and this time she accepts. The process to get into hypersleep begins, and Milo tells her about the planet she's going to. Before she falls asleep, she renames her clone to Liz and falls asleep as the oxygen runs out. In the last scene, Liz and Leo are shown in another planet, live happily forever. And the movie complete with an happy ending.